Hello, good morning. Welcome along to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1 and Virgin Media Play.
It is Wednesday, the 16th of October, and we've got a great show for the next 3 hours.
Just the two of us, baby.
Buckle in.
We could do this. Now, this past week, I think you will have heard, Sinn Féin, it has been thrown into chaos. There have been multiple scandals involving inappropriate behaviour and what's been called, quote, cover-ups. We'll be discussing that at 7:15 this morning.
Yes, and at 7:45, motoring journalist Geraldine Herbert will have a new car model for us to show, and she's also going to be giving us details behind this new parking meter scam. Now, have you seen this? If you've been affected, it's like this QR codes that are on the parking meters, but they're not the real ones.
They put stickers over the QR codes.
But look at the little car we're going to be talking about. How dinky is that? But if you've been affected by this QR code scandal, do let us know. WhatsApp us on 0896 111 111.
Is that car outside?
Yeah.
Are we getting into it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to fit into that. Anyway, we'll see it in a little while. And for something completely different, we're going to be talking to a former pro footballer and a best-selling author. Roddy Collins and Paul Howard will be here at 9:20. The stories are amazing.
Yeah, they always are with Paul. Now, Deric is finding out about getting fit while farming this morning. So you're a fit farmer this morning, Deric.
Always.
Yeah, nail on the head, Al. The things we'll be up to the Wednesday morning anyway. Following our trip to Longford yesterday, we've landed here in Roscommon and we had some very heavy overnight rain, but it is clearing through the northeast. But in behind it, we've had more rain up from the southwest later on tonight and today. And that coupled with high spring tides could lead to some localised coastal flooding, especially around southern communities out there today. But elsewhere, a return to sunshine, so holding pretty decent out there this 16th of the month. Now we've landed here in the townland of Moore here in Roscommon this morning. Their Fittest Farmer initiative up and running across the county here. So we're going to be spending a morning with them and not only helping farmers, I suppose, to get physically fit, where most of them already are, but also to get mentally fit. So we've got a whole heap of challenges coming your way right across the morning. So if there's any local farmers with some road frontage, send them our way.
Find Deric a farmer, obviously, is what's happening.
A bit of frontage, we go.
On the show today, we'll be back with you in the frontage in just a little while, Deric. So loads coming up. To get in contact, as always, it's 0896 111 111. Now, coming up next on Ireland AM, we're going to be talking about the controversies that have hit Sinn Féin this week and what it means for Mary Lou McDonald's leadership.
Yeah, see you after this quick break. Welcome back. Now, after a week of controversies involving elected representatives and senior party members of Sinn Féin, Mary Lou McDonald made a big statement in the Dáil yesterday regarding former party Senator Niall O'Donnell and Sinn Féin TD Brian Stanley. Here
to discuss is political correspondent with the Irish Times, Jack Horgan-Jones, and Lorcan Lyon from the Communications Clinic. Thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Now, can we just, Jack, run down what has happened in the past week in relation to these controversies with Sinn Féin? Because there has been more than one.
It's hard to do it briefly, but there has been... so there was two resignations from Sinn Féin's pool of TDs. One, Patricia Ryan, last week, but really the more controversial one occurred over the weekend. Brian Stanley, chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, resigned. We now know that there was an accusation made against him, which the party learned of last July. He made a counter accusation. There was a back and forth between him and the party over going to the guards over that. Eventually, he resigned from the party after being given the draft findings of their inquiry into what happened, and the party then laterally referred that to the Gardaí, referred the entire matter to the Gardaí, both the complaint and the counter-complaint. So it's a confusing set of affairs, made even more confusing by the fact that we don't actually know the subject of the complaint. But there's been major questions for the party as to why there was this delay in referring it to the Gardaí.
Yeah, that was a picture of Niall O'Donnell we had up there. We are talking about Brian Stanley.
We're talking about Brian Stanley. Sorry. We'll put the Brian Stanley to one side.
That's one.
Yeah, but like Mary Lou then yesterday did say that she gave more information about that and that the person involved was left traumatised and distressed.
Yes, so this is almost a sidebar to the main story yesterday, which relates to Niall O'Donnell. But she put more information into the public domain. She effectively said that the initial charge related to Brian Stanley's behaviour and that the person involved, the complainant, the original complainant, was distressed and traumatised in her own telling. Now, I think Brian Stanley has a statement out this morning saying that Mary Lou McDonald has misused Dáil privilege in so doing. So this is a controversy that continues to unspool. Now, the second one, Niall O'Donnell yesterday. So this relates to a senator. There was a report in the Irish Independent on Saturday citing an unnamed Sinn Féin member who stepped down from the party after sending inappropriate text messages that led to one of those traditional Oireachtas games of Guess Who. One name in circulation was that of Niall O'Donnell. Sinn Féin took the step of naming him in the chamber yesterday, and he actually released a statement in advance. The controversy here, I think, pertains particularly to the presentation of Niall O'Donnell's decision to step down from the party last December by Sinn Féin, when they said it was effectively entirely due to health reasons. They paid glowing tribute to him, as it was described in the Dáil yesterday, and there was no hint, no aversion, no suggestion that this had occurred, the sending of inappropriate text messages to not one but two people, one of whom was 17 years old, and the fact that the party had referred to the PSNI. All of this was not in the public domain until recent days.
So let's get into that a little bit, Lorcan, because Niall O'Donnell was Belfast mayor, whatever. He's a senator now. He's the leader of Sinn Féin. He was the leader of Sinn Féin inside in the Seanad. These inappropriate messages that were sent to a 17-year-old and one other person who asked him to stop. Tell us about that. It was referred to the PSNI.
Well, there's only so much we know about it, okay? Yeah. So inappropriate text messages being sent, it was brought to the attention of Sinn Féin. The person who brought it to the attention of Sinn Féin said they just wanted it to stop. It then did stop. Sinn Féin then decided that it should go to PSNI and should be referred to social workers. That then happened, and then the PSNI decided nothing should go further.
But hold on, they decided within their own party, right, we need to actually take one step further on this.
Yeah. As far as we know, that's what happened there. Okay. So, I mean, the wider issue here is, I suppose, is there's two versions of this entire story of all the crises together being put forward. The story being put forward by the opposition is that this is a Sinn Féin being, as they always have been, that they protect the party over the individual, that they're not focused on victims, that they have their own process and procedures, that they should have gone to the guards with the Brian Stanley thing initially, and why didn't they? That it's a sign of, right, they've always been like this, they've defended the Republican movement above the individual. That's the opposition story. Sinn Féin's story is, no, it's the exact opposite. This is a party working. The idea that just because there are incidences and human behaviours doing wrong things does not mean that they were badly handled. And the Mary Lou is very kind of strongly saying, actually, no, we have process and procedures. We deal with everybody. If you're the chair of the Public Accounts Committee or not, if you're the leader channel or not, we deal with everybody fairly, and these are our processes or procedures. And actually, this is what accountability in public office looks like. So it's the exact same set of facts, but both sides are saying very, very different things about what those facts actually say.
Yeah, because they were saying yesterday that Niall was allowed to stay as head of the Seanad, of Sinn Féin in the Seanad, while they knew this had happened.
Yeah, and look, that
they didn't, like, they knew he said it was a mental health issue, but he was allowed to stay on, and until he then resigned.
Yeah.
So there was that period where everybody knew about it, but nobody was saying anything.
Yeah, and I suppose nobody has said anything up until very recently. And again, the argument would be, when would this have come out if the story was not revealed or had not been, broken?
And the glowing report then, or the glowing thing that Mary Lou gave him then the glowing statement she gave him then.
Yeah,
like, this is sort of something when you know something has happened.
That was one of the most interesting things about the exchanges in the chamber yesterday, is that it wasn't necessarily the government who was going after Sinn Féin on this. It was Ivana Bacik, the leader of the Labour Party, and Holly Cairns, the leader of the Social Democrats. Ivana Bacik saying that, in effect, there was a secret suspension for a period of many weeks between the date of October 5th, which is when he was told that, notwithstanding the fact that PSNI were not going to investigate it, that this was deemed not acceptable behaviour by Sinn Féin, and that he undertook to resign at that point, and December 21st when this statement went out. And this statement, as we said, made no allusion whatsoever to the circumstances that underpinned that decision. Yeah. And Holly Cairns said effectively that this glossed over the reality of the situation. She also raised, I think, a very good point, which was, if you were the complainant, the original complainant, the 17-year-old person in this instance, how would you feel reading that glowing statement?
Yeah. And so I suppose there's one thing that has been twice. Niall O'Donnell has taken leave of absence by a doctor. He's been signed off because of his mental health. And I think that's something that we really do need to remember. We all know what can happen when there's a pylon, when someone could be in crisis. So that is, regardless of what he's done, I just think we need to remember that he has been signed off in relation to mental health about this before. But this comes on the back of course, Michael McGonigal. And this is what's kind of being conflated, Jack. And Michael McGonigal was a press officer up in Belfast who, like, this is over the past few weeks, who
Sure, and there should be no conflation
at all
between what Michael McMonigal has done.
Could you please remind us about that?
Well, Michael McMonigal has pled guilty to child sex offences and awaits sentencing for those next month.
Yeah, no conflation at all. I'm just saying this happened with the Sinn Féin party.
This happened with the Sinn Féin party. So you're right. It comes as part of this rolling storm of controversies that Sinn Féin
giving references.
HR, yeah, exactly. So press officers in Sinn Féin giving references to Michael McMonigal, which allowed him to obtain employment with the British Heart Foundation, a separate thing entirely. But you know, the deeper questions that pertain as to culture, transparency and so on within Sinn Féin, I think will be applied to all these instances, the Brian Stanley one, to a lesser extent the Patricia Ryan one, and the two that we've talked about at length today. And I think that when we're talking about the Niall O'Donnell one, you know, there is a corporate question for Sinn Féin here as to how they packaged up this news and the active decision that was taken with the December 21st statement.
Last year.
Yeah, exactly. The one that praised his contributions to politics and put the reasons for his departure down to health. And clearly there is a mental health element to it. Yeah. But clearly that is not the whole story.
Yeah.
And Sinn Féin has said that they effectively did not tell the whole story to protect his mental health. Yes. And I think that is the most problematic and difficult part for them. The sense that, you know, there's one narrative out there, but it's not the full narrative, but it's the only narrative that's
there are three separate, these are all three separate things, by the way. Obviously, none of them are.
Can we just ask you, where does this leave Sinn Féin and Mary Lou?
Not in a good position. In some ways, the timing of it is awful for the party, given they're going into an election. In some way, it's not awful because they're going into an election. And so, look, the story will move on from it. I think politically, if you look at it, the issue for Sinn Féin, a lot of it is they were already under pressure. They were already falling in the polls. They're already down, and this is putting a weight on them while they're down. It's going to be very, very hard to get back up. It's also going to be very, very hard to, I suppose, have a strong moral standing at the moment when you've all of these issues underneath it. There's just a sense of weakness. There's a sense of a lack of clarity around the party, which when it comes to talking about the big election issues is going to be an issue. And I think everybody realised at the last election, they did so well in that election because of Mary Lou McDonald.
Yeah.
Because of Mary Lou McDonald's performance in the debates, that she's a very effective politician. She cannot be as effective this time because of, look, relatively poor media interviews around this over the past period of time, a lack of clarity in terms of the timeline, and so she's not going to be the force that she was in an election campaign, which politically is not going to be good.
And it's all who knew when what, and when Mary Lou knew it. The focus is very much on her, and we've heard today Brian Stanley is going to run as an independent, Jack. So that is...
He's not going away.
He's not going away. Exactly. He's still going to be there. Again, these are three separate things, kind of personnel controversies that have hit Sinn Féin over the past few months. 0896 111 111 to get in contact. Jack Horgan-Jones and Lorcan Lyon, they're going to stay with us because we've got lots more coming up.
Yeah, we're discussing the rest of today's headlines after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Now it's time to take a look at this morning's papers. Now, the majority start with the scandals embroiling Sinn Féin, which we just spoke about. We're going to start with the Irish Times, the headline there. Sinn Féin accused of misleading Dáil over Senator. Sinn Féin is facing renewed pressure amid political charges that it may have misled the Oireachtas with a tribute to resigning Senator Niall O'Donnell last year. Amid a series of controversies, Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald told the Dáil yesterday that Mr O'Donnell has stepped down after sending inappropriate text messages to two individuals.
The top story of the Examiner and the Irish Independent lead with the same story. The Irish Independent goes with MacDonald crisis as she is accused of Sinn Féin cover-up on Senator's text. Mary Lou McDonald has been accused of orchestrating an elaborate cover-up after admitting she failed to divulge the real reason for former Sinn Féin Senator Niall O'Donnell's sudden resignation from the Seanad last year.
The Daily Mail, The Sun and The Mirror also lead with the same story. The Mirror's headline stating, Mary Lou team text, quote, cover-up.
The Star leads with a totally different story, Joe. It's hit and misses. RT presenter Joe Duffy said Mrs Brown's Boys star Brendan O'Carroll hasn't a racist bone in his body as he came out in defence of the star for making a clumsy racist remark.
The Herald's front page, bubble wrap and spar bag on wardrobe body. It continues to say that the remains of Sean McCarthy were discovered after murder-accused Dean Caffrey told the Gardaí they were in a wardrobe in his home.
Now joining us to discuss some of the other stories making the news this morning, and they've stayed around, Jack Horgan-Jones and Lorcan Nyland. Thanks so much for staying with us, guys. And we're going to start with Gardaí of making the first ever arrest over false claims on social media for a far-right agitator. This is very interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, first time ever to do it, that they're using actually legislation from the 1970s that says that if you knowingly make a false report, that you can be prosecuted for it. And so what has happened here is that there was a photo that circulated on social media of somebody on a bus going to Newton Mount Kennedy, where a lot of the protests have been and where the IPA centres are. And the assertion made with the post was that this person had fallen asleep after exposing himself to women and children, and that this was an immigrant newly arrived to Ireland, that they had done this. No truth to it whatsoever. Just a photo taken of a man who had fallen asleep on the bus. No link at all to it, but obviously it exploded on social media and then became a big deal. Spoken fear in the community. This poor man was at the centre of this and being accused of things that he had absolutely nothing to do with. But so the guards have decided, right, we're going to tackle this using this piece of legislation and say, right, you're the known far-right agitator has been described who did it. You knowingly knew that this was not the case. You shared this. That is effectively a report, and therefore you've been arrested, and up to 5 years in prison is what's linked to that piece of legislation. So look, it's a way of tackling people who are purposefully putting out misinformation online, and it's something the guards do need to tackle. I think we've seen over the last number of years that it's consistent. Whatever about rumours that that spiral out of control, it's people who start those rumours purposefully is who we're talking about here.
We've got a report later on today about sexual assault in relation to teenagers in Ireland, and an awful lot when you see these protesters, it's our women and girls in relation to migrants doing something like this. It's seen as easy fodder, and it's one of the most despicable things anyone could do to accuse an innocent person of exposing themselves on a bus. Like, things could get really out of hand in relation to this, Jack. So the Gardaí finding, it's not a loophole, it's legal. They're treating social media as a place that you're publishing things now.
Sure, and look, that is one of the most enduring tropes of the kind of anti-migrant far right, that, people of colour effectively are a threat to white women and girls.
Yes.
And I think the Gardaí should be applauded here for what looks to be a fairly innovative approach to tackling this. Reaching back to the 1970s, as Lorcan was saying, to find the relevant piece of legislation. But I do think there's an unaddressed thing here, which is the very modern phenomenon of the fact that what gives this rocket fuel is the way it spreads on social media, the rapidity, the way it's unchecked, and the fact that it can then prey on those latent fears, or people can use it in bad faith to kind of play into those tropes that we were talking about. And that's part, notwithstanding the innovative policing approach that's being shown here, that part of the rapid spread and the rocket fuel, that's the part that is not being addressed so
there's
much.
A bigger issue here, and again it comes back to the social media companies being able to take things down after 5 seconds, but not taking other things down that they know are false. And this is what the world is grappling with at this stage, Lorcan.
Yeah, look, the world is grappling with it, and I think, look, we tend to take our lead from the US in a lot of these things, a lot of the culture wars, a lot of things where it's happening. Yeah. One of the biggest things that has happened as part of the election coming up in November in the US is that we've moved into this new stage of kind of post-truth stuff, where J.D. Vance, running for vice president, is now just acknowledging, I'm making things up about immigrants, but it's to get you to cover it because you mainstream media won't cover it. So he's acknowledged that he's making up things about the Haitian immigrants in America eating cats and dogs because he wants to get covered. So you've got kind of political leaders now saying, I make it up. So that's going to filter down here. It already has and is going to continue to. We have to get ahead of it. Yes. This is a way of getting ahead of it.
But it does, if they are convicted and are sentenced to 5 years, it will send out a message and hopefully may stop some people doing this. So it is a good thing that the guards are doing.
It might also remind people who with goodwill sharing it, but people who are reacting to it and are falling into the tropes and falling into the fears, it might at least highlight for them as well, saying, will you stop and think for a second? Just think.
In carrying on from this, there is actually a report, 1 in 5 sex assault treatment cases are teenagers. 1 in 5, Jack.
Yeah, so this is a big study by the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the RCSI, where they've looked at people who attended basically sexual assault clinics. So there's a huge kind of there's a huge sample size here, I suppose, of 6,000 females who attended sexual assault treatments between 2017 and 2023. And there's a lot of data here, but I think nearly every data point is really interesting. So just to pick out a couple, adolescents and teenagers under the age of 18 accounting for a fifth females. But I think one of the most interesting ones, and again, I think this is something that we knew to an extent, is that 40%, just under 40% of females are attacked by strangers or someone who they just met in the last 24 hours. And that's a high number, but also it does hammer home, I suppose, that 60%, a majority, are attacked by people who they knew, often friend or acquaintance.
Yeah. And 1 in 6 believed they were drugged before the assault. Yeah. So when you think like young girls going out together and just that whole society of being out bars and clubs and stuff.
It's not teaching the young girls not to go out. It's teaching the boys not to attack. And we know that it happens to boys too. We do know it happens. This is just from the figures here. And one of the figures is 42% of attacks of under 14s was by a family member. So these are really stark statistics. You can read more about them today. It's 1 in 5 sex assault treatment cases. They are teenagers, and there'll be a lot more about that today. There's a survey of almost 900 Irish adults that are talking about what they'd give up in order to retire early, Lorcan.
And the answer appears to be absolutely nothing at all. I am unwilling to change my lifestyle to retire early. So I think it's saying that people might like the idea of retiring early, but for the most part, 8 or 10 people say they're not prepared to cut back on their annual holidays, let's say, for their financial capacity.
Why would you have your annual holiday and think about your retirement later on?
Why would you give up enjoying your life while you're of working age so that you can retire earlier? I mean, I know there's long-term planning. You get a bit of joy from planning for the next stage of your life. But I'd give up nothing. I have no capacity to give up any treat in my life at any stage. I always deserve it.
So it says that women would be more likely than men to cut back on gifts. They would buy fewer clothes and buy non-branded groceries to better their chances of retiring early. Men would more likely cut back on holidays, turn down the heating in order to make a savings boost to their thing rather than women. Women ain't ever
Jack,
turning.
what would you do?
I have to do all this stuff anyway. I'm still not going to retire.
Just a cost of living crisis.
That's exactly what it is.
Like 72 and I have to do
You wouldn't turn down the heating in your house, would you? Without your partner.
We're all right on the heating, actually. That's because I'm soft. In fairness, I like.
You like a nice warm house.
He's soft. Do you have a heating debate?
How much are you going to save from turning down the heating? You can retire early. Well, as you say, we're all going to work till we're 70. So,
but if you're cutting down on buying maybe expensive bags and clothes and different things like that, would you even think of that?
I suppose so.
He's always buying expensive bags, coming in here with his Dolce & Gabbana. 0896 111 111. Is there something you'd give up to retire early? Can we very quickly take a picture? Because Paul Mescal is on the cover of GQ magazine. He has conquered the world of the GAA short, and now he is taking on the hockey skirt. Look at him go. We're getting a blind reaction here from Lorcan and from Jack, and both of them are just mesmerised.
He looks great, yeah.
He does look great.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant shoot. I was looking at it yesterday. He looks fantastic.
What's the next piece of sporting apparel he should take on? I mean, what can't he wear?
What can't he wear, exactly?
Tom Daly, he's coming for your Speedo, I'll tell you that much.
We should have had the little hockey skirts in. We could have tried them on this morning for us, guys. And see who wore it best.
Jack Horgan-Jones, political correspondent for the Irish Times, and Lorcan Lyon from the Communications Clinic. We'll have the Speedos next time. Thank you so much, guys. Now, coming up next, we'll be bringing you all the latest in motoring news.
Yes, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Wait until you see this little car.
No beep on it.
Beep, beep. Welcome back. It's a car like no other. It's a Citroën Ami, and it's been dubbed the future of urban driving. But just how practical is this car?
Well, here to tell us more about it and update us on some motoring news is motoring editor with the Sunday Independent, Geraldine Herbert. Good morning to you, Geraldine. Look at this dinky little thing.
Tell us about this car.
Tell us about it.
Okay, when is a car not a car?
This.
Okay, this is it's technically classed as a quadricycle, but a bit like a quad bike. To put it on a public road, you need insurance, tax, motor tax, insurance, a driving licence. You need a full driving licence. You can't drive it on a provisional licence or a learner permit. Okay. So you actually have to be 17. Now in France, you can put this on the road at 14. Just hop into it. In the UK,
14?
Yeah, in the UK you can drive it on a moped licence, but here, as I said, it's a full driver's licence. It's priced under 10,000. It's fully electric, charges in 4 hours. Gives you a top speed weight for it of 45 kilometres an hour and 75 kilometre range. So it's 75. Purely for scooting around the city. So it's more a rival to a bike and a scooter than a car.
Than what
it's a lot more expensive than a bike now if you're spending 10 grand on it.
It is, but it's a lot more comfortable. It's, you know, it's rain-proof in the sense that you're in there, you're cosy, you can store stuff in it. Personally, I'm not 100% sure who's going to buy it. I think these would make great rental cars, a bit like Dublin bikes, but you just pick up a car.
So you had these in place, you pick them up and drop them back
drive
somewhere.
for 2 hours, drop it back, pay. But I can see it really working like that.
Is Dublin big enough even for that, or any of the other cities? Like you could see it in Paris maybe, or Barcelona where you're driving around.
I mean, you know, if you're nipping across the city a couple of hours, you know, it's perfect for that.
You know, when we were, I'm sure there's lots of parents at home that are looking in their toy room right now and they're seeing that red and yellow car, you know, the little Tykes toy that we had.
There it is. Version.
There it is.
Look at it.
This is like
the
real life version of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it comfortable in there, Miriam? No?
It's not the most comfortable. It's very basic. Like everything is stripped back to keep it, the cost down and to keep it light.
Are people going to buy it?
Oh my God,
as a second
really
car,
hard
as a
seats.
car for a student, rather than have pay accommodation if you were living in the city and you could nip across. As I said, it's going to have very limited appeal. Now, the other thing about it is because it's not technically a car, it hasn't been crash tested by the Euro NCAP. It doesn't have airbags.
Oh.
That's why,
because
I mean...
it only goes 45 miles, is it because of that?
Yeah, but it's technically not a car.
Oh.
So it doesn't have to conform to safety standards. It is urban mobility. It is another alternative, as I said, to a bike or a scooter. Yeah. So it's kind of that bridge between a car and a bike, I think. But it's not... I mean, you couldn't take this on a 100-kilometre road.
No.
But you could.
But
no, definitely not. It's not like on a motorway. Can you imagine you'd run out of steam at 40 kilometres an hour trying to overtake? No, don't even think about it.
Instead of a bike or scooter, you're paying for parking. Do you know what I mean? It is.
Yeah,
it comes
you
with
are.
That sort of a cost.
It comes with, as I said, I think rental, it would be just a fabulous idea.
That's interesting. I assume it's different to every other car on the road because it's not a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And it's so small.
Okay. We're going to move on.
You should pay half the parking price, actually, because it only takes up half car space.
Yeah, it would.
But you don't do that with smart cars, you know what I mean? Yeah. Remember them when they were
real cars.
They were real.
Actually cars.
I feel like we're getting into Pinocchio land here with what's going on. Yeah, it really doesn't look real. It looks like something we all drew when we were in school, and it's right here in front of us.
But it's so cute.
Now, we've got some news, and there is this scam doing the rounds. Speaking of parking, what's going on, Geraldine?
Yeah, so these are Q codes, and basically somebody has printed out fake Q. They bring you to a fake website.
The QR codes.
The QR codes.
Here we go. We'll watch it here. Yeah.
Basically take your money. So when you get to a parking meter, you see it has been tampered with. Somebody's actually just replaced the other one. They've just stuck it on it. People will come along, scan it on their phone, think they're going to a legitimate website, give their details, and they discover... I think there was one woman who was scammed of €1,000 or something. So, I mean, I suppose the advice is only use a parking app or pay or use your card at the actual meter. Do not scan anything. And that is the problem with those QR codes. They're brilliantly easy to use, but now we see that they can just be tampered with so easily because it's no problem to print those out.
No, nothing
at all. Just don't scan them on a parking meter.
Yeah, I'd use the parking app, definitely, or just pay in the old traditional way or tap your card.
Yeah, please do not use...
Because you cannot guarantee.
Yeah, you can't.
And the thing about it is, remember, you're rushing. Most people are. They're they're trying to get tickets really fast, run out the door, and they're not going to be too watching
authorities
too
or
carefully.
county councils or anything trying to stop this? What are they doing? How can they do it?
Yeah, no, they have gone around to make sure that they've removed any of these. But I suppose the onus is on people as well. If they see anything suspicious, to report it, so somebody else doesn't fall victim to it.
Yeah, they're probably...
Or try and take it off of your scarf.
It's probably only barely hanging in there.
Just don't use it. Do not use it. You do not know if they could be putting them up at any time. Do not use it. Now we're going to move on to car insurance premiums. 0896 111 111 if you've noticed this at home, because I certainly did this year. They're rising at 15 times the rate of inflation.
Yeah, now the insurance companies say this is down to the cost of repairs. Now, repairs have gone up, but so has everything.
Yeah. So, yeah,
repairs, it's going to cost you more to repair your car this year than it did probably last year. And there's all sorts of reasons for that and inflation. But they haven't gone up that much, to be honest. And at the same time, the insurance companies are making record profits. So, reconcile that one. The only advice to people is shop around. You will always get a better deal than what they offer you initially. The second thing is just always remember, only insure your car at the market value. So most people have an inflated sense of what their car is worth. Actually, when you double check, it probably isn't worth that much. And if you pay the inflated price, if you have a collision, they'll still only give you the market value.
So can I ask you about that? Is that just going onto car websites and seeing what your car is worth? Putting in all your details and go, this is what my car is worth?
Yeah, trying to find a car that's similar to yours, same extras, whatever. And the other thing as well is, and I know when insurance is expensive, it's very hard to do, but if you can pay in one go rather than in instalments, you'll save money as well because you're paying interest on the instalments.
On that
a lot
as
more.
well.
And I know that's hard when insurance is high, but if you can do it, you will save yourself some money.
Tell us about the robo-taxi.
Do I have to?
Lads, I can't.
Yes, this was Elon Musk's vision of the future.
Yeah.
Now, look, there are
In
already...
San Francisco, they're there, yeah.
There are. The interesting thing about Elon Musk is he's all talk. He thinks, we're going to actually own one of these. What's interesting about his system is it's purely camera-based. That's why it's so cheap. He reckons he can do this for 30,000. So with him, you always have to take everything he says in terms of dates and deadlines with a pinch of salt. So we'll see is my reaction to that.
The director...
And that was the robo-van.
That's the robo-van.
That's the cyber car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the cyber cab, sorry.
Yeah, but there is robo-taxis, like in San Francisco, people are using them all the time.
But they cost 150,000 each because they've so much radar, LiDAR, all sorts of technology on them. He thinks he can strip it all back and just run it on a camera-based system, which is why he says it's so cheap. And the explanation to that is we use our eyes, so why can't the car just use cameras? So there you go.
Would you get into a taxi if there was no driver?
And our eyes do so well. That's why the insurance has gone up 15 times the rate of inflation. And also the director of iRobot, starring Will Smith, has accused him of robbing his designs from iRobot because they look the exact same. It's amazing. It's amazing. Geraldine Herbert, as always, you bring us delights. We love it. I'll
just pack this up now into a box.
It looks like it'd be under your Christmas tree.
Motoring editor of the Sunday Independent. Thank you so much, Geraldine. Nice Christmas tree present. And still to come this morning, we're going to be speaking to a couple who let cameras into their homes to showcase their life in Ireland over a year.
Plus, yeah, it is amazing. It's a great new series. Plus an aubergine curry in the kitchen. And Deric is flexing his muscles with some farmers. Oh, hello. Don't go anywhere. Good morning, and you're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Here's what's still to come this morning. We've 2 hours to go.
All right. Are you all right?
We're all right.
We're all okay, aren't we?
We've 2 hours of fabulous entertainment
imagine how
for
much
you.
food there's going to be for people in the studio today without Tommy here. Everyone is delighted. Now at 8:15, we're going to meet the couple who let a camera crew follow their journey into adulthood, it said, as they navigate money, marriages and mortgages.
Yeah, very interesting. A great new series. The author behind the million-selling Ross O'Carroll Kelly series, Paul Howard, will be dropping by to chat about leaving the rugby legend behind. In the kitchen this morning, it is Chef Mindy Keane. Mindy, what are we having this morning?
We're going to have an Indian curry. It's called a paratha. Paratha is aubergine, so it's basically an aubergine curry.
Oh, delicious.
An aubergine curry. So not a bit of chicken anywhere?
No, love, not today.
I'm only joking.
It's like chicken.
It's like chicken.
It's like chicken.
It'll taste like chicken.
Yeah.
When does an aubergine taste like a chicken? When Mindy does it.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Now, this morning, Deric is in Roscommon with a gang of farmers who've swapped hay bales for kettlebells. Oh, good morning to you, Deric.
Yes, Al, come here, Sam Stacey in the kitchen. Anyway, if you're looking for fit farmers, we've come down to the right place here this morning. Ballydangan in County Roscommon is where we're at. Noel Feely, good morning to you, Noel.
Morning, Deric.
Are you a fit farmer?
Actually, no, I'm a townie.
Oh, you're a townie. Anyway, all the farmers are behind us. Tell us what's happening this morning.
So this morning we're here in Moore Community Hall. We're putting our fit farmers through their programme. So Laura's leading the exercise here. Our programme is basically 2 modules. One is the physical activity module, which you can see going on behind us, and the other is health education. So the farmers would learn about all the different ailments that they need to be watching out for, and how to counter those. And the idea of the programme is, to help people to live longer, but also to live better.
Yeah.
That they have a healthier lifestyle, and that improves their general condition going forward.
And well-being, absolutely. Well, we'll have more here from County Roscommon. Do you have a bit of road frontage as well?
Yeah, I actually do. I moved out the country years ago.
More from Roscommon, but for you guys in studio.
Well done,
Derek.
Derek. It's amazing because the report was released by Alone yesterday about loneliness in Ireland and about in rural communities and everywhere, and like how many people are feeling so alone. So initiatives like this are so amazing. If there's something like that going on in your community, we'd love to hear about it. 0896 111 111. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers, the majority of which start with the scandals embroiling Sinn Féin. The Irish Times Times headline says Sinn Féin accused of misleading Dáil over senator. Sinn Féin is facing renewed pressure amid political charges that it may have misled the Oireachtas with a tribute to resigning Senator Neil O'Donnell last year amid a series of controversies. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald told the Dáil yesterday that Mr O'Donnell stepped down after sending inappropriate text messages to 2 individuals.
The top story of the Examiner, the Irish Independent, also lead with the same story. The Irish Independent goes with MacDonald in crisis as she accused of Sinn Féin cover-up of senator's text. Mary Lou McDonald has been accused of orchestrating an elaborate cover-up after admitting she failed to divulge the real reason that former Sinn Féin Senator Neil O'Donnell's sudden resignation from the Seanad last year.
The Daily Mail, The Sun and The Mirror, they also lead with the same story. The Mirror's headline says, Mary Lou teen text, quote, cover-up. Now, The Star leads with a totally different story, and it says, Joe, it's hit and misses. RT presenter Joe Duffy said, Mrs Brown's Boys star Brendan O'Carroll hasn't a racist bone in his body, as he came out in defence of the Star for making a clumsy racist remark. The Herald's front page, bubble wrap and spar bag on wardrobe body. It goes on to say that the remains of Sean McCarthy were discovered after murder-accused Dean Caffrey told Gardaí they were in a wardrobe in his home. Now, thank you for text. We saw a story here this morning and we just thought you might like to see it. Crocs. Who has a pair of Crocs? Yeah. No. Look, hands gone up in studio here.
Pair of Crocs.
All the
Pete
Crocs.
has 2 pairs.
The Crocs wearer, yes.
Stevie, do you have a pair of Crocs? He's got 1 pair. Mindy, no. Good woman yourself.
I've never had a pair of Crocs. Have you?
No, I believe Tommy does.
I'm surprised you haven't having a pair of Crocs.
Why are you surprised I don't have a pair of Crocs?
I just thought you'd be the type of person who would always have a pair of Crocs.
No, I'm a Birkenstocks girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there
I have ugly. Thank you, Mindy.
Mindy.
I've got my Birkenstocks with me today.
You stick your aubergine curry over there, Mrs.
I feel fabulously German in my Birkenstocks, but maybe I'm hoping to get a dog someday.
Yeah.
I might have to buy them a pair of Crocs.
Yeah, look at this. Crocs have announced they have Crocs for dogs. I've seen it all now. How are they going to stay on them? What way are they done?
So there are shoes for dogs that people put on when and you know the dogs are trying to take them off, and I feel really bad for them. But if they're on hot, now does anyone have clothes for their dogs? Do you have shoes for your dogs? Do you have a jacket for your dogs? I'm sure you've got a Santa outfit for your dog because we all know they're going to be coming out soon.
Mindy's nodding. Mindy's
do you have Halloween outfits for your dogs, Mindy? No, but she's got the Christmas ones. Okay.
Okay, so the Christmas, do you have a little Christmas coat for your dog? Look, it's very stupid looking, isn't it? It is stupid looking, seriously, lads.
It is. I wouldn't want to wear them myself, but hey, no offence to the Crocs wearers. You go first. Don't want to be offending them. 0896 111 111. Will you send us pictures of your animals wearing stuff? If you've gotten a pair of shoes on your cat, I want to be able to see that, but I'm sure you haven't or they've never spoken to you again.
But the little coats have become very popular. Very popular.
Like a little chihuahua needs a little coat.
So do send us in the pictures. We'd love to see them and we'll show them a little after 9 this morning.
We need them today. 0896 111 111. And we would love to see pictures of your pets, any pet, wearing clothes with their permission, of course.
With the dog's permission.
Obviously,
or cat's permission.
It's all about consent.
Or the mouse's permission.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
After the break, we're going to be looking at the realities many young couples face building a life together.
Whether it's money, marriage or mortgages. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what the biggest hurdles are for young couples starting off together when they want to begin a family. 0896 111 111. Let us know and we'll talk to you very shortly.
Thanks for staying with us now. A new series on Virgin Media One, Life Actually, follows 8 couples over a year as they navigate the highs and lows of building a life together.
In the show, soon-to-be wives Leanne Kane and Leanne Mooney prepare for their wedding. But the costs of the budget, I think a lot of people will realise this, they quickly add up and become overwhelming. Let's take a quick look.
She has to go outside when I put my suit on then.
Nearly saw it last night.
I was scrolling through my photos and I was like, did you see?
Initially our budget was 18, but I think when we sat down with that budget, like neither one of us had planned a wedding before or even inquired about prices. So we
I don't even know where we got the 18 grand budget from.
I think we just
looked that number earlier. Right, we're not spending more than 18 grand. But between the hotel, photographer, videographer and band and DJ, that was our 18 grand spent, like. Yeah. So we were like, right, what now?
We budgeted for about 15 to 18, but it's looking at maybe 30 plus now.
Suit you.
Woo! we jump from 18 to 30. Hello, women.
Good morning.
Leanne Kane and Leanne Mooney. Good morning. How are you? Now, meet the Leannes.
The Leannes.
The wives. Leanne, how do we differentiate? How do your family differentiate you?
Well, Nana, I'm Leanne Ella to her Nana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leanne Ella.
Yeah.
Leanne Ella, the other
Leanne.
And then my ma just calls us I'm my Leanne for her and my Leanne.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Okay. I'm confused that we haven't even started.
Yeah.
But you're Leanne Mooney and you're Leanne Kane.
Yeah.
There we go. But it does, some of your bosses think that you talk about yourselves in the third person?
Kind of have to correct them sometimes, yeah.
What would you be saying that they...
So, sometimes in work, like if I'm talking and I'll say Leanne, they'll look at me funny and I'm like, no, my wife's name's Leanne.
My wife.
I'm not talking about myself in the third person.
Yeah, like Leanne's going ahead and she's watching that TV show
Yeah,
about
yeah,
me.
yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about me.
So
Okay.
we're looking at the series there. So let's take it all back and start at the start and how you two how yous met.
We met in eBay.
Yeah, we worked together.
We worked together. I was there longer than her, so when she started, I was the mentor on the floor.
Oh,
so
right.
Leanne would make up questions so that I would go over.
I used to make up random questions that I already knew the answer to, just so she'd come over and
Just
talk
get her
to
to
me.
come over and talk to you.
Oh my God, that is such old school flirting.
And it went
Over the head. She didn't
You
pick
didn't
it up.
notice?
I didn't.
Were you saying this one's a bit thick?
a little bit, yeah.
Asking questions every day.
Leanne, who made the first move?
I did.
What happened?
We're actually on a work night out and, you know, yourself, a couple of drinks, Dutch courage, because the flirting was just going over the head. I was like,
Completely missed it all.
I just have to tell her. So, yeah, I just grabbed her and I said, look, I think you're a babe, really like you. And then she leaned in for the kiss.
Oh,
The rest
is history.
God bless. I hate yours nightmare. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, you have decided to let cameras into your life.
Yeah.
Leanne, why did you do this?
She made me.
Oh, okay.
No, I thought, why not? It's a bit of crack.
We seen the ad on the telly looking for couples to send in an email if you were getting married or buying a house or having a baby in 2023. And she was actually in work, so I recorded the ad and I sent it to her and I said, will we apply for the crack? Not thinking it would go
I
anywhere.
had no idea we'd actually get on it.
Yeah, and we did.
Because this is what the series is about. It's over a year and it actually does follow couples, like you said, starting a family, buying a house. And for you, it was the wedding.
The wedding.
So tell us about the wedding and the plans and who proposed, first of all?
I did.
You proposed when and how?
2019, yeah,
July.
we went to a festival in Glasgow.
Oh, right.
And I did it in the hotel before we went, done the room up and stuff. And
I kind of had an idea.
Did you?
Yeah.
She's never put fake nails on in her life, but she did this day.
She knew.
I had a feeling.
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
she can't keep her mouth shut about anything. So I was like, I have a big surprise. You're going to love it. You have to leave the room. I have to just do something. And then when you come back in, I'm going to give you a big surprise.
Yeah, I wasn't subtle at all.
I think there's a bit of a giveaway there. Yeah.
But it's 2019. Obviously, COVID
Yeah.
hits and
Yeah.
that changes absolutely
Yeah,
everything.
we had planned to do the wedding, say, 2 years. Said we give ourselves 2 years to plan the wedding. So obviously that got put on hold then because of COVID.
Yeah. And then you decided to do the show. You prioritised this wedding, and as we quickly saw there, you put 18 grand on it. And next thing, you jump to 30s.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea what planning a wedding would do?
No idea, no.
Absolutely
Like, it was... We thought we could get away with the 18, but
Yeah.
we never even inquired about prices before. So when we seen the price of photographers, videographers, we were like, we may need to revisit the budget.
So you thought like 18's a grand big like total, like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
putting
look, I'm
18
sure it
grand
could
away for our wedding.
Oh, you're
so
fabulous.
what what started to look at that? That's a glorious day.
Oh, you're
What started to push it up, the budget?
We kind of then, there was certain things we wanted, and I just said, look, we're paying for this ourselves, we'll just have what we want.
Yeah.
You know,
We thought like we'd
just
put back
go all
on
out.
numbers and
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z, and then it worked out the less people you have, kind of it can work out more expensive. So then we said, okay, right, well, we'll have the 100 people, and then 100 turned into 150, 180.
Really? How many ended up at the wedding?
165 or something.
Nice wedding.
Yeah.
Did you all say, listen, lads, you're all going to be on camera, so
Yeah, we had to give them the heads up, behave yourself.
behave yourself. Oh, there was extra goon as well.
Is it, because I know that it involves a sacrifice when you think, right, I've saved 18,000, which is a huge sum of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And like, what were you doing at this stage? Do you own a home?
No,
We're renting.
You're renting?
Yeah.
So €18,000. What did you have to do, Leanne, to go, well, where am I going to find this extra money from?
I got a good chunk of it for us. I did an ad for Tullamore Dew whiskey. And I got a nice chunk for that.
Oh, right, great. Okay, you got a good job.
That helped. It was actually when I done that ad and I got paid for that. That's when we were like, you know what?
I thought you were working all the hours God gave you. No, you just
that too.
What were you doing?
I was cutting hair and teaching barbering.
And you were, for a while, you were like ships in the night.
Yeah.
You just didn't see each other.
Yeah.
Leanne works late hours, so by the time she comes home, we might get like a 10, 15 minute catch up, and then I have to go to bed because I'm up for work early the next morning.
Because you work in IT as well.
Yeah.
So how did that affect the relationship?
Yeah.
We just kind of motored on, really, didn't we?
Yeah. We knew what the end goal was, and we could see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We were getting closer.
Yeah.
But like, if we'd have some time off, we'd always make sure like we'd have a movie night at home, or we would go and do something.
Or if we had a day off
Okay.
together.
So then we have to ask. The money was all saved. The wedding day.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, nothing went wrong.
No.
That's all that we know of anyway.
No.
Everything
Well,
went off.
actually, you had a little mishap with your suit.
Oh, I did actually, yeah. I put my suit on and I looked all lovely, and then I sat down for the ceremony and I had a big gaping hole in the crotch.
That happened to my husband the day of our wedding. He split it right under there.
Yeah.
And he's in the bathroom sewing it.
Poor auntie had to sew mine, yeah.
You're a very close family. I really like it. Fair play.
But she took the trousers off to be
You took the
sewn.
trousers off. What's your aunt's name?
Caroline.
Well done, Caroline. Take one for the team. But with all of this, like, I know you had a beautiful day, but the cost of living crisis, I know that you've said now that looking at weddings now, they've even exploded since
I'd
you
say
got
if we
married.
were to do it now, I'd say
If we were
add
to do
another
it
20.
exactly how we
Really?
did it.
About another 20 onto what
Talking
we
about
spent.
50 grand now, do you think, for your day?
For
About
like
that,
for
yeah.
a big wedding, with the band, videographer. If you wanted to pull out all the stops, like I think we had like 3 different wedding favours
on
for the
table,
guests.
yeah. We did most of them ourselves. So.
Yeah.
But you're happy with the decision that you made, that you went, you had the
Oh, yeah.
party, and we're going to get to see this in life, actually, which I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing other people try to buy houses. You were renting, other people who are going on sort of the pregnancy journey. And since the cameras have stopped rolling, there's some news, Leanne. Is there?
We do actually have some news.
What? A little bit of news.
Yeah, we should have kept the cameras rolling. What's
So Leanne and I continued on with our IVF journey, and we are now pregnant.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Oh my God. So when did you decide to do this? Because it's a decision so many people in Ireland are facing.
Yeah.
So many people are going through it.
It was always a topic with us.
Yeah.
Always. Like when we were in the early stages of going out, like it was wedding, house, babies, everything.
Yeah.
And just as soon as the wedding was done, then we went to just inquire. It was like a coffee morning.
I think we just wanted to see what our options were because...
And it kind of just went from there. We just we went on honeymoon in December and January, and then when we come back, we just got the ball rolling. And it
Said,
took
like, let's
first
do it.
time, first egg.
Wow, so January, so you're...
So she's very fertile.
You went first time.
We were very lucky,
Wow.
very blessed, so grateful.
That's amazing.
That is fabulous.
Of course, the government announced the initiative, and we're hearing more and more. And there was IVF that was announced last year, that they pay for one round of IVF for women who were under the age of 40 and who were in heterosexual relationships. So you weren't included.
We didn't qualify for the government grant.
No real equality there.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
We were very disheartened over it.
Yeah, really let down, actually. Borderline, to me, discrimination. Like, if your employer was to say, no, you're not entitled to that promotion because you're in a same-sex couple. So...
It really is.
Yeah. So it was really disheartening. But...
of all couples, like same-sex couples have no choice but to go through
yes,
IVF.
if they want to have children.
You know, and just the fact that we were just left
adoption
out.
or whatever.
I know. And it's with such a hard things going on because you're saving for your house. Saving for the house. You're saving for the house. But you're in a really good place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Morning sickness, how are you doing?
A little bit, but I'm trying to embrace everything.
One moods.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. I'd be careful. You're on camera now, Leanne, but you're going to be off camera in a minute.
Me and the dog cannot do anything right at the moment.
I know, the dog's my baby.
You're allowed, that's allowed.
I can't do anything.
And of course, then, if there's another series, we follow you with the baby.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'd be open for that, yeah. I had a great time filming.
It's amazing. It's called Life Actually. It's on 9 p.m. on Sunday on Virgin Media 1, or you can stream all episodes now on Virgin Media Play. Leanne Kane and Leanne Mooney, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much, and huge congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Fair play for putting on the cameras for a year. Very brave. I won't be able to do that. Thanks so much, guys.
It was lovely chatting to you both.
It really was. Thanks so much.
For having us.
Thank you.
Now, still to come, Chef Mindy Keane's going to be showing us how to spice up one of our 5 a day.
And Deric's getting physical with farmers in Roscommon. Of course he is. We'll see you back here very shortly. Oh, sorry. Now we're chatting here. We have a healthy dinner being made today that is great veggie dish for all the family.
Mindy Keane from Mama Nagy's is here, and she's making an aubergine curry today.
Yes.
Is that it?
It's called pratha in Indian, which translated means aubergine. Aubergine is an underrated vegetable that nobody knows how to use or cook. It's probably
I only know how to send emojis with it, isn't that it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've bought an aubergine in my life.
Have you not?
No.
Well, you see, it's not really a vegetable that you've probably grown up with. So you wouldn't have an aubergine casserole or anything like that. Whereas we would be into that exotic sort of
very much a
vegetables.
part of the Indian food. Yeah.
So aubergine. So basically, it's a bit. You cook it like a baba ganoush. So I'm going to just start this off, and then I'll talk about that. So cumin seeds. Half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. Half a teaspoon of mustard seeds. Okay, goes into the hot oil. I've added a little bit of oil and a bit of butter. Okay,
lovely.
Then it gives it that rich, creamy taste. With the aubergine, I've split it in half. Okay, there is 2 bits, but I'm only showing you the 1 bit. And then you sort of score it down. So you're just basically scoring it so you open it up. Okay?
Yeah.
So once you've done that, drizzle a bit of oil, which I've already done, and a bit of salt just to stop it from going brown when it was already cooked.
Because they're a real, it's a meaty vegetable, isn't it?
It is.
And like roasted, it's so delicious.
Yeah. Well, this would actually be my husband's favourite now. He's a real meat eater, like yourself.
Yeah.
But if he's not, this would be a good alternative for him.
This would now be his favourite, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all I've done is put the onions into there, and I've just roughly sort of, I like them sliced, because I like to see in this curry, because I make it like a baba ganoush. Have you ever had baba ganoush?
Yes.
Basically, you're grilling it. So when we've done that, put it on the tray, you grill it top side up first for 10 minutes, and then you flip it over and you grill the other side. So you basically, to loosen all the flesh.
That's it there, okay.
For 10 minutes.
And it just comes out.
Yeah, it
That's
just
like
comes
fish
out.
there.
Yeah, lovely, isn't it? And
Do you ever eat the skin of an aubergine?
you can do, yeah. But
but
this, I mean, what I normally do is I do cut half of one up just to give it so you know that it's aubergine in there, you can see. So
Sorry, how long is that in the oven for?
10 minutes on each side. Under the grill.
Yeah, under the grill.
On a medium, yeah. Then once that's gone in, let's add a little bit of coriander in there as well. I'm going to add in, I always make a chilli paste, so it's chilli, garlic and onions. Blitz it and put it into the fridge.
Chilli, garlic and onions.
Sorry, not onions. Chilli, garlic and ginger.
Chilli, garlic...
Ginger and coriander. Blitz it, blend it with a bit of oil and a bit of lemon, and you've got a lovely chilli paste.
Put it in the jar and put it into the fridge.
Put it into the fridge. Just top it up with a little bit of oil, and it preserves it. If you don't add water...
You make that for me and put it in a jar and I'll buy it.
Sorry, I used to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's great. That is so handy, just to have it.
Is,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you're basically cooking that off. So that's all done. Because there's a lot of waste in, like, vegetables and stuff if you don't use them straight away. So chilli, ginger and garlic, peel them, chop them up, blitz them, oil, lemon juice, because lemon juice preserves as well. It's all natural. Lemon and oil is natural, so it preserves it naturally, so you're not adding any additives.
Beautiful.
Just adding a bit of lemon in there.
This smells incredible.
We always have lemon in the house, so should I be putting lemon into lots of stuff, like a little squeeze of lemon into things?
100%, yeah.
Oh.
So into that...
Not just your gin and tonic, darling.
No, Carl drinks it because he drinks herbal teas all the time and he always puts lemon in it.
Yeah.
So there's always lemons in the house.
Lovely on pork and everything.
I've added a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add half a teaspoon. So it's half a teaspoon of everything, but with the garam masala, you can add a tablespoon in, OK?
OK.
So it's turmeric, cumin seeds, a little bit of chilli, salt, and then your garam masala, which is...
I love your spices rack.
I know, it's so lovely.
It's so amazing.
My fella's allergic to cumin. We had to give up.
Really?
How did he know now?
Because his face exploded.
But how did you know it was the cumin?
Because we whittled it down.
Ah, right.
Oh, the poor fella.
You just kept feeding him different spices. That's the one!
We just kept on cooking Indians, and he was like, it's the cumin. Poor fella.
So once you've sort of roasted and cooked the these dry spices, you're adding in the tomatoes. So there is a method to this, right? So you have to give everything its time to cook, OK? So your onions, and then your garlic ginger paste, and then your dry spices, but give them all a couple of minutes. Turn that back up now.
Yeah.
And then let that cook through, and then you add in your tomatoes. Your tomatoes have gone in. So that is a good masala base, which is used for every curry, OK? So you will
every curry, then you can start adding what you want. So this way you could add your chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to make it, obviously, to give it different flavour, coconut milk, cream, yogurts, all that. So this is the base.
It smells incredible.
Next thing I'm going to do, which was this aubergine. I'll just do it with half of one because we didn't have... just to show you. So you scrape all that out.
Yeah.
OK, so this is your inner part, which is the fleshy bit, which is really, honestly, it's just like chicken.
Like, look how pulpy it is and everything.
And then once you've done that, I'm going to throw that in. So that goes in. Obviously, you'd have a full one going in. Might need a bit of chilli because I'm going to be eating this.
Oh, good woman.
Okay.
Good woman.
So you've potatoes and peas there as well. Do they go in as well?
Well, that bulks it up.
Oh, just to bulk it up, yeah.
Just to bulk it up because you wouldn't have a lot going in here with that because, you know, families are big, so you want a bit more into there.
Get people their spuds. Lovely.
Yeah. So I've just pot-boiled these potatoes, chip size, throwing them in, and then frozen peas. So you just let them coat that up. And then some frozen peas, and you've got a lovely... Let that cook for at least 50... Everything's basically cooked
everything's
there.
basically ready,
Yeah, so you're just letting that sort of marinate and cook for 15 minutes on a low heat.
Just keep stirring it.
Exactly. Well, you just basically, like this, you can add a little bit of water just to help it, just to not dry up, OK? And then let that sit, put a lid on it, and that should cook away. Add a bit of coriander just to give it a little bit of colour.
And this is it here then?
And that's it there, that's the finished bit. Yeah, that's the finished dish.
Like, this is lovely, look at this.
And then you have it, I've served it there with rice. You can use chapatis, you can use absolutely anything and everything.
That is absolutely delicious. The aubergine.
It's different, isn't it?
It is so delicious. Isn't that amazing?
I'm having a big chunk of aubergine there, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, the flavour's gorgeous.
You get in the layer.
Yeah,
it's so meaty. Yeah. It's a meaty veg.
It really is.
That is stunning.
Thank you.
You should get the recipe. It's on Ireland AM. You should get that. You just get it from Mindy. But the recipe is online on Ireland AM's website. Please do, because that is so good. Mindy Keane, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And you can get more recipes like that from Mindy at Mama Nagy's. And after the break, Deric swapping the gym for the farmyard.
He is. He's getting fit with a gang of farmers in Roscommon. It is a Wednesday, guys. It's what he'd normally be doing. We'll talk to you in a minute. Cheers, darling. Cheers, darling, after our dinner. Deric has been limbering up all morning with some farmers in County Roscommon.
Yes, now he's been finding out about a great initiative. It's a Fit Farmer initiative. Good morning to you, Deric.
Yes, guys, we're limbering up this, right? I'll tell you, the last time I was here in this neck of the woods, I was ziplining through the trees in Boyle, County Roscommon. Anyway, welcome down here to Ballydangan. That's where we're at this morning here at Moore Community College. I'm joined by local farmers, Tom and Sean, and also by Laura Tully. Good morning to you, Laura.
Morning, Deric.
Laura, all the way from Roscommon Sports Partnership. Tell us what you're about.
Well, we're about improving the health and well-being of everyone in County Roscommon. My programme is designed specifically for farmers, so improving their health, their well-being, mentally, physically, socially and emotionally. I designed the programme back in 2019, and at this point over 250 farmers in Roscommon have come through my 6-week programme through Roscommon Sports Partnership.
That's absolutely fantastic. And Laura, as we know already, I mean, farming is such a physically demanding job, right?
That's it, and it's very tough mentally and physically. Certainly farmers actually have a very poor health profile. They suffer a lot with musculoskeletal disorders, injuries, back pain, as well as higher rates of cardiovascular illness, higher risks for cancers and mental health illness, as well as it being a sort of high pressure job that takes its toll on your well-being.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of mental health and awareness, I suppose loneliness is a big feature of farming, isn't it? Because you spend a lot of time on your own.
It is. It's a very lonely profession, and also our rural spread here, particularly in County Roscommon, a very long county, sparsely populated, with a lot of the social supports that were previously in a community now decimated. So certainly the aim of this is to bring farmers back together, give them a sense of being on a team. Certainly the camaraderie and the banter is something that they remark about a lot, and we're reducing isolation and we're improving that social connection for people.
Tell us about the programme here itself then. What have you got?
We've a bit of everything. So I provide the programme over 6 weeks. People come down to their local hall. They're only 5 minutes from the farm if they need to get back for something. They don't need to be dressed up or dolled up, going to a gym. It's in their local community, removing that barrier and stigma and kind of embarrassment about it. Come in for an educational health promotion workshop. My background is a nursing professional for the last 25 years, so they're getting evidence-based, reliable health information to empower them to look after themselves better. And then the second half of the class is a physical activity workout. It might be something like you see today, our Fit Sticks for farmers, might be walking. We go from farm to 5k. We've lads up and running, and some of them have taken on bigger challenges.
I love that, farm to 5k. Sign me up for that. Now, Tom, you're a local farmer here in the community. Tell us what you've got at home.
I just keep dry stock.
Okay,
and, small farm.
Small farm, yeah. You're married with 3 kids. Four. You're a busy man.
Yeah. Well, all grown up.
All grown up. Tell us, why did you decide to join the programme?
Well, I joined for health and well-being, like Laura said, and fitness. You know, and when we're out on the farm and that active every day, you know, you have accidents, you trip, you fall. So we feel a lot better with exercises and sitting up and getting down, tractors and things like that. So it's definitely a great programme for us.
We mentioned mental health and well-being. I mean, the March was such a great place over the years, and the Creamery, a great place for farmers to congregate, get together and chat. A lot of that has gone out of it now because the marts have gone online.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that, and like, local post offices are closed. You know, the only place to see anybody now is outside of church on a Sunday morning maybe. Pubs, people can't go to the pub, you know, because of the driving and that in rural Ireland, so it's fairly isolated. So these are great programmes. And people meet. We haven't met them for a while. We have a chat and know what he's done.
Have a nice catch up. What about you, Sean? What have you got at home?
Sucklers.
Sucklers. You have a wife and 3 kids as well.
Wife and 3 kids is right, Deric, yes.
And tell us, why did you decide to join the programme?
Well, again, it was for the fitness there, and I also, after joining, I had a problem there. I got a scan on my hip, and with the work exercise we've done, the muscles come back in the hip again, and the pain went, and it made a huge difference to me, a huge difference.
Great. And obviously with farming, there's a lot of pulling and dragging. You're up and down on tractors and trailers. I mean, it's quite demanding, quite tough on the body.
It is. But again, as Tom said, it's just when you're physically fit, you know, it makes life so easier for you. Plus, you know, you feel much better as well. Much better.
And what about that connection as well? I mean, we are in the heart of rural Ireland here at the moment in Roscommon.
We are, but come down here and be with the people, your neighbours, and even new people again that comes into the community, we get to meet them as well too, and it's so important, you know, because we just don't get to meet people like we used to one time.
Absolutely, and bring them all with us on the journey.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, look, we couldn't leave Roscommon without a bit of a challenge. Now, Laura, what have we got this morning?
Well, we're challenging you. I know you're from a farming background. We're going to see if you can take on the fit farmers here in Roscommon today.
Right. So what are we going to do? So we have Noel here from earlier on.
Keeping with our farming team this morning, we're going to do a wheelbarrow race.
Okay, we've got a wheelbarrow race, right? So I've got Mary, and that's Ellie over here.
So we're going to have Limerick taking on the Rossies today.
Roscommon won something, it was 1943, was it? 44, the football. All right, count us in there. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Roscommon on the outside. Limerick closely followed.
I haven't done this since I was doing this. Come on, Mary. I think it's a draw. I think it's a draw. Where can we find out more online?
So you can find out more on rossactive.org, or if you just look for the hashtag FitFarmers, you'll find out all about us and what we do.
There we have it. For me and all the gang, I'm Rex. Back to studio.
Thanks, Deric. Go. If you go. Go. We'll see you after the break. Go. Come on, Aaron. Come on.
Hello, welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, coming up this hour, we have got shining stars, sparkly smiles, and a spotlight on female trailblazers.
That's a lot in an hour, isn't it?
I know, and we're going to fit it all in.
Paul Howard talks swapping rugby antidotes for soccer stories for his latest collaboration with former Irish football star Roddy Collins. That's coming up at 9:20.
From a Mayo meteorologist to Ireland's answer to Anna Wintour, we're meeting the author uncovering the hidden female heroes in Irish history. One of them basically responsible for D-Day.
Yeah, it's
She's
really
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah.
We're getting the down low on our daily dental routines. Dr. Ambrish Roshan is here. Good morning to you. Ambrish, what are we going to be talking about?
Morning, guys. So today, really, we're going to be addressing the importance of oral hygiene and oral healthcare products that are available in the market, particularly why you should be swapping from your manual toothbrush to your electric toothbrushes. And we're talking all about that.
That's Ambrish's first time doing it down the lens, and you knocked it out of the park, Ambrish. That was so good. So good.
I had the electric
here we
one.
go.
No, but the thing is, and I just can't be bothered going to get a new one. Do you know?
I couldn't be bothered shopping, is what he said, essentially. Now, Deric's been put through his paces. He's getting fit on the farmyard, kind of, this morning, Deric. After your wheelbarrow race, how are you doing?
Yeah, how are you getting on, Deric?
Lads, it was definitely a draw. Do you not think it was definitely a draw, right?
You lost?
Was it a draw?
Definitely
It was definitely a draw. Yeah, absolutely. We're calling it a draw here in Roscommon. Ashley Dunn from Healthy Ireland is with us. This is a fantastic initiative for the farming community, Ashley.
It is, and you know that's the biggest part of the Healthy Ireland programme is to get people physically active and to look after their mental well-being, and Fit Farmers brings that together in spades and connects communities in a great way.
And obviously coming up to the winter now, the mornings are closing in, the evenings are closing in, so it's important to connect and get together.
It is, and to give people a reason to get out of the house and to leave the comfort of their homes. So working with the sports partnership, it gives us a great opportunity to do that and to bring people together.
All right, you any good at wheelbarrow races?
Oh, it's a long time since I did a wheelbarrow race.
Join the club. All right, back to you guys in studio from Roscommon.
Thanks so much. That's a great initiative. It honestly is.
Just get people together like that. They're all having conversations there, bit of exercise, maybe go for coffee and just...
Thank you so much, Deric. Now, earlier on, we told you that Crocs, the global sensation that are the rubber shoe brand, have now released a line for dogs. Yes, you and your doggies can be
Crocs.
there, walking the beach with your Crocs. You can be sweeping the yard with your Crocs. You can be relaxing around the house with your Crocs. Little twinnies, they've got Crocs out. So, you know, on a day like today, we felt we needed a little bit of happiness, didn't we? And we're like, just send us your dogs and cats.
We haven't seen these yet because we just asked you, because we know that a lot of pet owners dress them up a little, especially on Halloween or Christmas. So we have Kobe here with his Halloween outfit. So let's have a look at Kobe. I love it. That is brilliant.
That's coming from Barbara today. Louise, my dog Molly, is dressing. She's dressing as a cute cow. We're being told, look at the little thing. I have never. All our cameramen have left their cameras to go over and stare at the lovely dogs because they love them so much. No, they're working very hard.
That's fabulous. And then we have. Now, we've heard of Clark Kent. What about Bark Kent? Oh, is that it?
Elliot and Gertrude as Bark Kent and Superdog.
Oh, Superdog,
No, they do not have, nor will they ever have, Crocs, but they do have fabulous raincoats, we're being told. They were not going to put shoes. We should have a poll up. Would you put shoes on your dog? You can't be doing that.
Bark Kent and Superdog.
Gorgeous. I love you.
And Martina, then, this is Cora Mini Schnitzel.
Schnauzer.
Schnauzer. Schnitzel. Schnauzer. In her Schnitzel.
You can't eat her, no.
In her Halloween costume, Octopussy. Oh my
God.
The dog is there going, Mother of God, what are they doing to me?
I know, but can you imagine she showed up in a Bond movie? You'd be like, yes, please. Fantastic.
That is fabulous.
Mary says that Ben Flood loves his summer hats and his shades.
Of course he does.
I'm sorry, looks like enjoying them.
Literally, yeah,
like
genuinely. That's lovely. Kevin says Hugo was shocked wearing his Christmas jumper last year. Get it off me! Get it off me!
He's doing the Kevin from Home Alone for you, Kevin. Hugo is wanting to be like doing the Kevin. Joanne says Bear and Loki in the Christmas spirit. Oh my God, this is too cute.
Oh my God, what does the thing say?
Santa's Little Helper.
Santa's Little Helper.
They are absolutely adorable. Thank you so much for sending those in. You've brightened up my day. And I want to say hi to Lisa, who says, my friend bought a pram for her dog, Minnie, and she goes shopping with the dog in the pram. A few people around my area have a pram.
That, yeah.
They look very comfy. Sometimes when you get older, your little legs can't be doing everything.
But the dog should be walking, though.
But if they've got arthritis, put them in the
okay.
lovely little pram. Fair play to you. Thank you so much for all of those. Any excuse to show pictures of animals, let's be honest.
That's it. Especially when we get a nice bit of a laugh out of it.
Yeah, but not one picture of a cat. Because they're going, no, I will kill you if you put me in anything.
Oh, yeah, trying to put something on a cat.
Now, still to come, we're joined by a professional wordsmith and a football maestro.
Author Paul Howard and former Irish football star Roddy Collins are here after the quick break.
Welcome back. Now, our next guests have been friends for over 30 years and have recently started taking to the stage to talk about their lives. Please welcome former Irish footballer Roddy Collins and best-selling author Paul Howard. Hello, guys.
Hello, great to be here.
It's looking dapper, the two of you. Did you ring up this morning going, what are you wearing?
We're like two teenage girls going to Dundrum Town Centre for the day. Like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing?
We were out all night.
They've rolled out of bed. Well, you are used to spending nights together because how you first met Roddy is quite and how you became intimately acquainted with him, Paul, is quite interesting.
No, it wasn't that intimate. No,
well, let's find out.
I'm spending nights together. Calm down.
Let's find out,
I'm a married man.
I was a sports writer and I covered the career of Steve Collins, Roddy's brother, who was the world middleweight and super middleweight champion.
Yeah.
And I was a freelance sports writer and I would cover these trips, I would cover these fights and I would try to kind of make it work, you know, like maybe doing it for 5 papers, but I tried to keep my costs low. And sometimes that meant I'd stay on the floor of a friend's house if they lived nearby or something like that. And I looked impossibly young to be a sports writer. Like I was 19 and I looked probably 12 years old. And I found out subsequently that Roddy and his family called me the Milky Bar Kid. And I did look like the Milky Bar Kid. I had little rounded glasses. And anyway, one night we were in the Meadowlands Hilton Hotel in New Jersey. Steve was fighting for the middleweight title. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I had no room. But I had to kind of hang around the hotel. I had vague thoughts I was going back to New York to stay with some friends. And Roddy saw me there. What happened? Caroline?
Well, Paul's out describing it, you know, how he was on the road, he had no money. That's the posh way of saying I was broke, I hadn't got a shilling, right? And Paul was like the Milky Bar Kid, we called him. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, he was like a kid that was left after a communion party, sitting in the foyer.
I had a rosette and everything.
And Caroline, being the mother she is, they were going up, and we're well nourished now.
Your wife, Caroline.
My wife, Caroline, yeah. Right, so we're going to bed, and Caroline goes, that kid should be in bed. Right, and I goes over, I was like, what? The Milky Bar Kid. So I goes over, hey, Paul, go up to bed, you. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. She says, you know, a little sad face, I don't have a room. So I goes back over to the car and says, Carol, that kid's going to sleep on the side.
That kid.
Get him up to her room. So pulled the mattress out of bed, stuck him in the corner, and that was it.
And Roddy and Caroline slept on the base of the bed, the hard base of the bed, and I had the soft mattress
Worst
in the
night's
corner.
sleep I ever had.
I can imagine. You got the mattress.
We've been friends ever since.
And just talking to you when you came in, my God, have you been friends? Like, you have done so much together, travelled all over the place, obviously covering Steve, covering Roddy's career, everything like that. But you did write, and like the book, when it came out, The Rodfather, you ghost wrote, although we all know it was you, your autobiography, The Rodfather. You must have had, like, he knew so many of the stories anyway. Was he reminding you of stuff?
Like, when Paul caught me up, I thought it was a bit of a wind-up. I did, you know. Who's going to want to read a book? Who's really going to read a book? He sees me different. Paul introduces Roddy Collins in his mind, and I'm going, who's that fella? You know what I mean? And he said yesterday, a national treasure. I went home and I looked in the mirror and I said, Daniel, Jesus, stop. But no, look, Paul, so, yeah, we got on it. Paul sat down every week in the house and it was like just having the crack. And we'd start talking about something that we've already experienced 20 years ago, you know, in a trip maybe to Italy or playing football or whatever. And it just took off. And then Paul says a name. And I'm going, call it what you want, I don't care. Even the picture on the front, the fella came from England, spent 3 hours with a big team of photographers, and the first picture was a putter up, it doesn't matter. The kid said that, can we call it the Rod Father? And that's how it went. But it's just been off the wall, you know.
But usually if I was ghostwriting a book, I've ghostwritten a few, I would spend maybe 2 or 3 hours a day with the subject. With Roddy, we spent 10 hours a day at his kitchen table because it was so much fun. And I would be sore from laughing at the stories. Like, there's 500 stories in this book. But as I was transcribing the stories, I said, you know, your fear always as a ghostwriter is, can I do justice to this? Can I do justice on the printed page? And of course you can't, but I did as well as I could. But all the time I was thinking, I wish we could put this in front of a live audience. And that's where the idea for the stage show came from, that these stories in Roddy's mouth are never funnier, you know, than when he's
Yeah, but Paul, I had never seen that. And Paul said to me, we're doing a gig, do you? What do you call it?
Yeah, a gig. I call it a gig.
I'm only a plaster.
A gig, yeah.
He said, so we're doing something out in Dalkey. And I'm going, Dalkey? I mean, past Mead Street, no one knows me. You know what I mean? So I'm going, I'll do a recce. So me and Carolyn went out to Dunleary.
He really did. Check out Dalkey. He did a recce on Dalkey.
I got a picture with a Dunleary sign on a big marble monument or something. And I said, Paul, I'm out in Dunleary, do you fancy a coffee? Within 10 seconds, don't tell anyone you know me out here, right? So I'm walking down Dalkey, Dunleary, trying to find out would anyone recognise me. Will they buy a ticket to the show? So I'm going down, here I am. How are you head? What's the crack? You all right? Yo, pal, there, what's the crack? And you go, oh, jeez, that north side, how did he get across here, you know?
A helicopter went overhead. It was the RNLI, right? And he thought it was for him. He thought they were bringing him back.
North side, Yahoo, got back on the train.
I love the way you went over to Dunleary as though you were arriving into Schiphol Airport or something. And you take the picture beside a marble thing going, I'm here.
But you see, you have to understand, I'm a Dublin 7, my wife inner city, we're inner city people. And Mead Street, Westmoreland Street, right? That's the furthest south. I thought it was all countryside after that. I thought Dalkey was in Kerry somewhere, you know. I thought I was going to get a flight to Dalkey.
Google mapping Grafton.
Helicopter to Dalkey.
Kerry people now at home going, we're not taking Dalkey. It's so, because I know that you've said when writing the book, it was so hard to whittle them down, and you've taken to the stage. This is what you're going to be doing, Roddy Collins in conversation with Paul Howard in the Ambassador Theatre. It's the 30th of November, right?
Yeah.
But there is one story that I have enjoyed so much, because my God, I can imagine my mother losing it. What did you do to poor Caroline when it came to playing a certain lotto?
Right.
Roddy.
We were broke. We were skint. Load of kids. Caroline deserved better. She deserved better. I was at the, you know, whittling my way real life on football, living the dream that never happened. So one morning I woke up and I did dream about 3 numbers, genuinely dream about 3 numbers. And when I looked, 3 was in, the 3 numbers I dreamt out was in the numbers. So I thought, I went round the shop and I bought a ticket for next Wednesday. And I just put it down under a cushion. Caroline grew up and she had one of the...
You did Saturday's numbers?
You did the next...
Yeah, I got the winning numbers of the night before.
Right.
Put them, bought the ticket. So Caroline comes down and she goes, Rod, don't go for a minute, right? And she sits down and she says, Jesus, put the telly on. It was teletext at the time. Oh, Jesus Christ, she says, we're at the winning the lottery. And I thought, well, I tell her now. I said, no, this is great. She's so happy, you know. So I goes, what? She says, yeah, so much. She says, 3 point something million. The point something didn't even matter, right? So I goes, Caroline, say nothing. Tell nobody. Keep calm. I'm going training. I was going to train for football and everything'd be fine. We'd be grand. So I'm going down the road. That's when I see all her sisters. She's 6 sisters, right? 5 sisters and 3 brothers flying up in cars, all waving, cheered, and all. Like, oh, Jesus, I'm writing it now. How am I going to retrieve this situation? I get to training, and Jeffrey Collins was with me, and he ran back on his big mom. We found like a block. And it was a big party in the house. We're all singing and dancing, all that. So anyway, I come home. The house was empty. Caroline looked at me. You know, there's something not right. Rod, why did you do that? She found out. Stephen actually walked in and found it was next Wednesdays. So my justification, now, as I always say, it took me a week to get back into the big bed, Paul.
Paul had taken them. She was like, give the mattress to Paul. You're never going to stay
with me for a while.
My justification till this day was, we won 3-point-something million. Caroline gave away 4-point-something million. What's your mortgage? I'll clear that. Have you ever been on a cruise? You're going on a cruise. How do you drive and get rid of that? You're getting a Merc.
You see, most of us who played that joke, right, would tell the truth before we left the house,
yes.
right? Roddy let that stew for an entire day.
No, it was fair. It was fair. Yeah, because I never seen Karen I'm with Karen since I was 15. I never seen her so happy and so proud of me for winning 3.3 million. And you know what? I was really enjoying it, you know. It was a God, she really loved me. But anyway, look, we got over it. I think she still loves me.
Well, you used to inflate your stats at Bowes as well, did you?
Right, yeah.
Can you tell? I love this. What used you do?
Well, look, as Paul knows, I broke my leg at a young age. I was pulling up trees with football. Right, where do you put that?
Oh,
I was pulling
there you go, good man.
pulling up trees with the football and doing great, getting trials in England. And then I come back and I broke my leg, right? And on the comeback trail, you're forgotten about. So I was walking in off a game one day in Dalymount, and this phone, it was like a dummy phone on the wall, was ringing. So I picked it up and went, hello, yeah, Irish Independent here. What score was the game? And I went 3-0 to Bowes. Bowes 3, Trinity College, we were playing nil. Who scored? I said, Collins got the 3 of them. So Monday morning, I'm on a building site Monday morning, it goes in, the lads are, well done, Ron, got a hat-trick. Did you get the ball? And no, they don't have enough balls to give me one. So I copped out this. The next home game, I'm standing by the phone, everyone's having a shower, I'm still waiting. Ring, 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 hello. Yeah, Irish Independent, score 2-1. Who scored? Collins 2. So when I went into a building site on a Monday, Paul, everyone wanted, here's the goal machine. And I'd be going, yeah. I'd probably 4 goals in 50 games, with 50 goals in 4 games in this one. You know?
You got a career in England out of that.
No wonder you spent 10 hours a day having a laugh. This is, I mean, the stories just keep on going. Quick, there's a Ross book out at the minute. We don't even have time to talk
Don't Look Back in Anger.
Don't Look Back in Anger.
Last in the series, yeah, it broke my heart writing it, but it's over.
People are very upset that it's over.
I know, but you know, look, I've written 24 books, and I thought 25 might be pushing it a little bit, you know.
You'll have to come. We have to do a retrospective about Ross one of the days.
I'll do a greatest hits one day. Yeah,
one of the days. And Roddy loves Ross, doesn't he? Ross loves Roddy.
Well, Ross and Roddy are two different worlds apart. Like, Paul's the poshest person I know. You know what I mean?
The second poshest is Bruce Shields, by the way.
Well, they started all over. Yeah, so, you know, Ross.
Lads, these two fabulous humans are going to be in conversation. Paul and Roddy, they talk about their 30-year friendship, writing a book. They're doing these live theatre shows. So they're going to be in the Ambassador Theatre, which has been redeveloped in Dublin. Beautiful. The 30th of November. Tickets are available on Ticketmaster.
And there's one in the Clonshill in my Dublin 15 that's nearly
the 1st of November.
First of November.
Yeah, we're doing a dummy run.
Book out the night, I'd say babysitter for about 10 hours, because you're not getting out of that place alive. Paul Howard and Roddy Collins, it's been a pleasure to have you. Thanks you so much. So lovely to have you. Still to come on the show, we've got 365 reasons to celebrate Irish women, and we're mastering our daily dental routine. We'll see you back here very shortly.
Now, Ireland AM has been longlisted for the Headline Mental Health Media Awards, which celebrates stories that break down stereotypes and help shape the public conversation around mental health issues.
Earlier this year, Virgin Media news anchor Caroline Twohig opened up about how a chance encounter at the playground helped her face her postnatal depression. Here's what Caroline had to say.
And then I met a stranger in the park who probably saw something in me that she recognised in herself. She had 2 children, and she said, how are you getting on with your baby? And just the vacant look. At this stage, I was numb. I had stopped crying. And the vacant look she just reached out and touched my hand and said, I found it very, very tough. And I went to my doctor. And he put me on medication. And medication to me was a dirty word. I was almost shocked that she's speaking about this thing that we do not talk about. And she gave me her number and said, just please. And it took a stranger, because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Didn't want to disappoint my family, my friends, that, oh, she has a healthy baby, she should be. That was in my head. And eventually, after nearly a year of feeling like this, I went to my GP, who was amazing.
Wow.
Now, Caroline's moving story there about postnatal depression has been longlisted for the Shine Audience Choice Award, with the public, you, choosing the winner.
So if you'd like to vote, you can visit headline.ie/awards to find out more. Voting closes on Sunday, the 27th of October. And we just want to say once again to Caroline, thank you so much for coming on and opening up like that. And to every single person who does that on this couch every day of the week, we really do appreciate it. She's
really
amazing.
Do.
Yeah.
And from one inspirational woman to over 300 more.
Sure, listen, we'll have them all on the couch now, from trailblazers to pioneers. Author Cúnach McGann's new book is making sure influential Irish women are getting the recognition they deserve. Good morning, Cúnach. How are you?
How are you?
Let's talk about Everything is Awesome.
Yes, indeed.
This is the book. How is this laid out? Interesting.
So what I did was I had this brilliant brainwave that I would pick every date of the year and attach an event or a woman to that particular date. So significant dates. So every date of the year has a woman who achieved something on that date.
Amazing. And were you surprised about the history of Irish women in this country going through it?
I really, really was. So there were obviously there's absolute icons in there. There's people like Mary Robinson and Sinead O'Connor, obviously. And then there's much more obscure people or people who haven't got the recognition they deserve. And I just absolutely loved deep diving and finding those women.
It's so amazing because it's like Samuel Pepys, the diarist, who you can, you know, the way you can kind of pick a date, like the day, and you might go and read his diary as to what happened to him on that particular day. With this, you can do the same. You know, the 4th of April, we could pick today's date.
Yeah, you can pick out your birthday. And I know I gave a copy to my sister-in-law, and she was like, I didn't have time to read it, so I just dipped in and looked at the birthdays.
My birthday, yeah, and stuff like that.
The Save the German Children's Society was founded in Dublin. Its first chair was paediatrician Kathleen Murphy. This is on the 16th of October, 1945. That's what you've put in there. I just think that is such a great way of doing it. And some of the people you've put in there are so good. There's one woman that I became obsessed with this summer. Her name is Maureen Flavin, and she's in here. Or Sweeney when she got married.
That's right.
But Maureen Flavin at the time. Can you tell us about her?
Yeah, so she was just doing her job every day. So it was 1944. It was literally the day she turned 21. It was in the wee hours, and she worked in the post office at Blacksod. And Blacksod also had a weather station. So part of her... Blacksod, over in County Mayo. So what they were looking out for was storms coming in across the Atlantic. And part of her job in the post office, would you believe, was to take measurements at the lighthouse. So that night, she was taking them every hour, and she saw a pressure drop. And a pressure drop meant that there was a westerly storm coming. And that was communicated to the war offices. And basically, Eisenhower, who was overseeing the D-Day landings, his chief meteorologist, can you imagine, rang Blacksod post office at 11 o'clock in the morning. They confirmed the readings, and the date for the D-Day landings was changed from the 5th of June to the 6th of June, because otherwise they would have been trying to land all the soldiers in stormy waters. So Maureen was doing her job. Because of her reading, she saved, we don't know how many lives.
Thousands of lives, they think. Thousands
and possibly
of lives.
changed the course of World War II.
Because the storm on the 5th was very bad in the English Channel.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And you know, she was commended by the US Congress. She lived to the ripe old age of 100, and she was commended by US Congress for her skill and professionalism.
Look at her there. That's amazing that we're recognising people like that, and I'm only finding out about that now. But before Anna Wintour, there was Carmel Snow. Tell us.
I love Carmel Snow.
Tell us about Carmel Snow.
She was really kick-ass. So she was around. She was born in Dalkey and emigrated to the US, and she became editor of Harper's Bazaar magazine. And she was editor there from 1934 to 1958. And she had an iron will. She was really a force to be reckoned with. And at the time, the head of the magazine was William Randolph Hearst, who was like a tycoon. He owned loads of media.
Like Citizen Kane is based on him.
This guy, right?
Yeah.
So she went up against him time and time again. And at one point he sent, bearing in mind the period it was, he sent out a decree saying no African Americans were to be included in the magazine. And she defied him and put an African-American singer, Marian Anderson, in. And at one point, he got so exasperated with her that he sent a memo out saying, does anyone know how to control Mrs. Snow? I know I don't. And so she was amazing. And, you know, she worked right up until her 70s. She worked through 3 pregnancies in her 40s, which was almost unheard of in that day and age. She was a real trailblazer.
It's amazing because with these, you can only put in snapshots.
Exactly. But what I'm hoping is those little snapshots will inspire people to go off and find out more
I'd love to go and find out more about Carmel Snow.
Exactly. You'd like to read a biography of her, a full biography. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Absolutely amazing. There's two women that are on Reeling in the Years every once in a while when that year comes around, and that's Mary Manning and Karen Gearan.
And again, like Maureen Sweeney, they were people just getting on with their normal...
These were the Dunnes Stores employees.
Yes, exactly. So Mary Manning, she was working in Henry Street in Dunnes. Her union had given a directive that they weren't to handle produce from South Africa, because at the time, South Africa was under apartheid. She followed the union's directive. Her shop steward, Karen Gearan, backed her up, and they were both suspended. And they and 9 of their fellow workers went out on strike and stayed out on strike for nearly 3 years. They were getting 21 quid a week on strike pay. And it was what they did, they started to really attract worldwide sort of attention. Archbishop Desmond Tutu popped over to see them on the way to pick up his Nobel Peace Prize, and it galvanised public support here, and the Irish government responded. And in 1987, the Irish government banned all imports from South Africa, and we were the first Western government to do that. So 2 women took a stand on something that they absolutely believed was wrong, and they really had an amazing effect. And in 1990, Nelson Mandela came over to get the freedom of Dublin City, and he paid special tribute. Mary Manning even had a street named after her in Johannesburg. And so they're just amazing women who did what they felt was necessary at the time. And the book is full of lots of women like that who stood up, some who excelled in their fields, and other women who just stood up for something that they saw wasn't right.
It's incredible. Like, thousands of people cross the Rosie Hackett Bridge every day. But who is Rosie
Hackett?
Hackett?
And I hadn't heard about Rosie Hackett until relatively recently. Rosie Hackett was amazing. She was born in inner city Dublin. Her family shared a house with 4 other families. They didn't have a lot of money. She was out working young. She worked in the Jacobs Biscuit Factory. In 1911, she founded the Irish Women's Workers' Union. She spent her life campaigning and making workers' rights, making workers' lives better. And she was also a staunch Republican. She held Stephen's Green with Countess Markievicz during the Rising. She spent her whole life working for Irish workers, and she died in 1976. And what's her occupation on her death cert? Spinster. So she's one of a long, long line of Irish women who haven't been recognised the way they should be.
And she should be.
She absolutely. And now she got her bridge. She got her bridge.
But like, to find, as you say, I'd love to find out more about her now and look at her life story.
Exactly. And it wasn't until 2014 when she had the bridge named after her. So it's like well overdue, and it's very welcome. But there's a lot of women like that who've done incredible things that have never really been acknowledged the way they should.
Absolutely. It's amazing. I know you've done with some modern women in there as well. Obviously, Mary Robinson is going to be in there as well. But you had to go to Limerick for Denise Chyla, obviously.
Absolutely. And again, I think she's at the vanguard of the kind of modern feminism. She puts herself out there. She's been so outspoken about mental health, about misogyny in rap and hip hop. And she has a lovely phrase, actually, your confidence is a political statement. And I think that's a really important thing for women nowadays, particularly. It is. And she's very she's just fearless. Her first album won the Choice Music Prize. Yeah. It was called Go Bravely. And I think that's exactly what she does.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And lots of other people like Rachel Blackmore and all, like winning the Grand National. So there's so many stories in there.
There really are. And then there's kind of more obscure stories that might kind of give you a smile. So there's somebody like Mary Maloney. I've a great soft spot for the stone-throwing suffragists.
It's lovely. Everything is Awesome. 365 days celebrating Irish women. Cúnach McGann, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Stuff.
We'll be back with you very shortly on Ireland Day.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, brushing your teeth is part of everyone's daily routine, but how do you know if you're brushing them correctly or if you're using the correct toothbrush? Well, if you are one of the 24% of Irish adults who have not seen a dentist in 2 years, Dr. Ambrish Roseanne is very angry with you. And he's here to answer our toothbrush queries. Good morning.
Firstly, I'm not angry.
You're not angry. But
we do encourage.
We are a bit sort of like, oh, the dentist, it's a bit far down on our list, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely down the pecking order in terms of your priorities. But then again, if you think about the frequency at which we use our mouths and our teeth on a daily basis compared to, getting your car serviced, I mean, that's the way I would always explain it to people. Generally, and I put my hands up, I'm someone who only services my car when there's something wrong with it, and something quite significantly wrong with it. But that's not the mentality we need to be having when it comes to our oral health. Because ultimately, you know, when something happens that is quite small and we can address it quicker, it's way better than when it escalates to a point that we need significant treatments for. And that's why I always advise that your home healthcare routine is probably the most important, followed by your at least once a year, if not twice a year, check-in.
Visit to the doctor, visit to the dentist.
Yeah.
Okay, brushing our teeth. How many times a day should we brush our teeth?
Very simply, twice a day. There used to be a sort of anecdotal sort of chat about brushing your teeth after every meal just to get rid of all the food built up in those areas. But sometimes that can be excessive. And especially if you're using a manual toothbrush that doesn't have pressure sensors associated with them, then you can end up scrubbing away very vital structures such as your gums, causing them to recede, which then exposes the root of your teeth, which is a bit softer. So that excessive brushing can then cause the tooth surface to be abraded away as well.
So once in the morning, once at night, that's enough?
Once in the morning, yeah, exactly. Once
and
in the morning,
for how
once
long? Because like, I think it's 2 minutes is recommended, is it?
2 minutes.
So do you count? Do you stand there counting, going?
Do you know what? 2 minutes brushing your teeth is the longest 2 minutes you'll ever spend, right? And that's why indicators on an electric toothbrush, for example, so the Oral-B ones, for example,
they have the little lights, and
it has lights,
actually tells
but it
you
has
when
vibrations,
and
it vibrates every 30 seconds. Because believe it or not, that 30 seconds, when you're standing there in front of a mirror just before bed, you're like, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
So it gives you an indication that you're now you should be in a different section of your mouth. So put it very simply, this one, for example.
Okay, can we just talk about this then? Electric versus manual toothbrushes. What is the difference, and why would we go and buy an electric one?
It's just going to be so much more efficient at cleaning.
Why?
The same way as firstly the round brush head compared to your manual rectangular brushes.
Oh, so what difference does that make then?
So if you look at, I might get you to zoom into this bit. So if you look at the way the round head sits against each tooth, so it kind of covers the tooth perfectly.
Okay.
In comparison to the rectangular one, it then covers more of the tooth. Now, more of the tooth does not mean good. More of the tooth means that there are areas between the teeth here and there that you're missing out. So the round head helps navigate the cleaning mechanically into those areas, and that's exactly where we want to be cleaning, right down to the gum of each tooth, and we're doing it one tooth at a time.
So if there's food or plaque in there, we might miss it with the manual toothbrush.
Yeah, precisely. And if you were using it to try and get into those areas, that's when you end up over brushing it.
Okay.
So something like this has a smart pressure sensor where when it goes on, there is a light that comes on. You press just the right amount of pressure, you get a green light that tells you, yeah, you're doing right, keep going. If you start putting too much pressure, it turns red. And that's when you know
it tells you.
Yeah, so the inbuilt mechanism of it works so that the brush has basically telling you that you're putting too much pressure on your gums.
Are we putting, because I do this if I am using, I have used these before the electric toothbrushes, but when I have a manual toothbrush, I'm just like getting in there and you're going, like, you know, so that's not the best way of doing it because you feel like, I have to get it really clean.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, plaque is very soft.
So that's a very good idea then, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So it goes red when you
put too much pressure, Okay. Then it turns green when you're having the optimal, because otherwise you're not brushing hard enough. And there's a very fine line between underbrushing and overbrushing. Underbrushing means more plaque buildup. Overbrushing means, you're getting rid of the plaque, but you're also probably getting rid of gum and tooth structure, which you are not going to get back. And the more gum you lose, the more tooth structure you lose, the more increase in sensitivity, the more increase in tooth loss. So we're just trying to find that balance. And Oral-B have very much evidence-based designed their product in a way where they've found
they've done research on this.
Exactly the optimal pressure is, and then it cleans it that way. The other thing as well, compared to the manual toothbrush, the head rotates, it oscillates, so it goes in circles, similar to what we clean patients' teeth with, small round instruments. when it rotates and oscillates, it gets rid of any plaque buildup. So it's flicking it really, really quickly.
So when
you're using a manual toothbrush, even if you're going gently in circles, you're getting rid of the plaque and pushing it back in. You're getting rid of the plaque and pushing it back in. So that is a bit more of a flicking motion, and it also pulses to break up the plaque.
So when you go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned, this is the type of thing they use. They don't be using this. Okay. What about mouthwashes then?
Very interesting. Yeah, so mouthwash generally I don't recommend. Unless you have a specific reason for which you need it for. And that specific reason is usually gum disease, where you need an antibacterial agent, antibacterial agent.
And then you should be buying one specifically for that, should you?
And the only way to know that is to actually go and visit your dentist, who will tell you, yes, you now have gum disease, or you have gum disease, so we need to maintain and monitor this using set products. But for the general population, using a mouthwash can sometimes wash away the fluoride effect of your toothpaste, and we'll go on to toothpaste in a second, but toothpaste has a high concentration of fluoride.
So what kind of toothpaste should we be using then?
A fluoride-based toothpaste.
Are they not all fluoride-based?
Most of them are. You can find some herbal toothpastes, often in health shops, that don't have fluoride. And I know there is an anti-fluoride movement, which there is no evidence for suggesting that fluoride or non-fluoride-based toothpaste does anything to protect your teeth, apart from the mechanical cleansing of it.
And flossing? If you have an electric toothbrush like that, do we need to floss as well?
Yeah, you still do need to floss.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you think about the tooth surface, so again, we'll go back to the tooth surface. You have one surface of the tooth there on the outside, another one on the inside, and the biting surface.
Yeah.
But what you don't get, and what the toothbrush rarely gets, is the areas between your teeth where the teeth meet each other. So if you have teeth that are very close together, then you won't have the ability to clean it.
The only thing he's not a hypochondriac about, his teeth. I'm going to my dentist at 12:30. See you there. Thank you so much, Dr. Ambers.
Thank you so much.
Coming up on tomorrow's Ireland AM podcaster and etiquette expert, William Hanson tells us why we've been eating chips the wrong way.
Really? We're getting the top tips for a ghoulish getaway this Halloween, and taste testing the viral spicy pickle cola drink.
See you tomorrow from 7 a.m.
Have a great day. Bye.